Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day. Tomorrow on Thursday, they say there's another cold front moving in just in time for this week's big 3-day show at Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park here in Pevely, Missouri. They say the high is going to be right at 70. Hey, by the way, our Weather Channel here, they keep acting like it's really cold for the month of September. What am I missing? Respond right here. Isn't September always mild? And then it gets a little warmer in October. Ain't that usually what happens? I mean, God has trained us, right? Respond right here. Hey, did I ask you to respond right here? Isn't September always mild? They're just acting like it's like, oh my God, it's mild. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. Okay, looking good this weekend. Clear weather, and like the high gonna be like 72, 73. So we're looking good. Okay, subject matter of the day is something that I witnessed with my own eyes, and I really liked what I witnessed. I went racing on Saturday right here in Pevely, Missouri, and Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park actually is kind of a compound, meaning they have a really nice dirt track. They don't have it anymore, but they had a drag strip, a good local drag strip. And then they had a WK, World Karting Association. They had a really nice go-kart track. Well, the drag strip is gone, but the go-kart track has kind of been sitting, but looks really good. No grass grown up, the paving looks good. And I always saw, why don't they do anything with that? Why don't they create more income? Why don't they keep it going? So the new owner, Josh Carroll, I guess they got a phone call from the drifting group. The cars, with the Yokohama tires and wee. Hey, Wallace, do that again. Okay. Wee. Here's the wall. It's like, okay, in drifting, how do you score points? Respond right here. I don't know. How do you score points in drifting? So anyway, I'm pulling in Saturday around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for the dirt races. And there must be over 100 cars there. They go through 1 or 2 sets of tires, and they are drifting. They're ever living asses off. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Here I would go past that, what I consider a smaller type go-kart track, but these drifters, they know what they're doing. They drifted the hell out of that go-kart track. I mean, they were happy as hell, and it was a huge event. So I've always believed in cross-marketing. In other words, NASCAR racers going to the drag races. Drag racers going to the NASCAR races. Asphalt racers coming to a dirt track. Dirt racers going to an asphalt. I've always believed in that. Tony Stewart's been, world news here lately, and Tony does it all. And the drag racers say, John Force, Don the Snake Perdomo, I've had him on Kenny Conversation lately, and they say Tony Stewart has been really good for NHRA. So it's a good thing, cross-marketing. So anyway, we pull in there on Saturday, and all of a sudden, there's atmosphere at Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park. There's a lot of atmosphere. There's 27 cars in my class. It was a big vibe, 100 and something cars. As the night went on, I just took a look at the grandstands, and it was one of the biggest local crowds I've ever seen at our racetrack in Pevely, Missouri. And I thought to myself, wow, that's pretty incredible. Well, the next day I go up to Quincy, and Jimmy Deering, Jimmy is in charge of timing and scoring, but Jimmy also is a race director. Jimmy goes up to Quincy and he runs the races. He's the guy in our ear telling us what to do. So we're up there at Quincy, and Jimmy comes over to my truck and trailer, and we get to bullshit a little bit. And I said, man, how about that drifting race? I said, that was incredible. And he's the one that told me, he goes, oh yeah, over 100 cars. They go through 2 sets of tires. And I said, boy, there was good vibe. I said, just coming in, I said, there was lots of going on. I said, I liked it. He goes, yeah, and most of them stayed to watch the dirt races. Bingo. There it is. Ah, I like that. Most of them stayed to watch the dirt race. Because I thought to myself, that is one of the bigger crowds I've ever seen here for a local race. Definitely looked like, Pevely holds like 7,000. Pevely's got big grandstands. There's grandstands all the way around. It holds 7,000 people. That's one of the most in dirt racing. That's why the World of Outlaw sprint cars, that's why they like going to Pevely, because it holds a lot of people, and they pack them in there for that World of Outlaw race. So, what's the moral of the story here, Herman? Sometimes, to make things more exciting, here lately, everybody's been taking shortcuts. They've been going, hey, come watch the NASCAR race. And by the way, Gretchen Wilson going to be playing before the race. And then after the race, we're going to have another superstar. They're getting these, and now listen, I'm having fun with y'all. They're getting these fake crowds at the races. They're saying, we got a race going on, but we got all these big concerts going on. Well, if you get a sponsor to pay for the concert and they don't take no money away from the auto race, well, it's a hell of a show. Now, Fairbury, they bring in, concerts and, during the Prairie Dirt Classic, and then they do something after the Prairie Dirt Classic. So the moral of the story is think about it. There's nothing wrong with drifting's as big as NASCAR. Oh yes, it's like an underground sport. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, I was over there at Suzuka Circuit, Japan, buddy. That's where it all started over there in Japan, is that drifting. So can't we all just get along? Let's do a little bit more. That's one way to help dirt racing. Figure out some other things to bring in that night, maybe before our races, and draw more attention to your facility. Tell me what you think of that. Respond right here. If I was Pevely, if I was Federated Auto Parts, if I was Josh Carroll, I'd ramp that go-kart track up. I'd get that baby going. All right, everybody. Have a great Wednesday, is it?